Give the loudest applause ever for delivering 19 years.
I figured that I needed to at least bring Liz up so you could actually see her. We used to actually do the business together before we got kids, and so she's been doing the mother thing for quite a while now, but she's actually the energy behind the deal. I seriously, when she's engaged, she's the one. But so I've kind of wriggled in there and taken the center stage away from her, but this is the strength behind everything, so I figured So how you guys doing? You have a half hour or so left in you? Yeah? You've heard a lot in the last little bit, haven't you? And, you know, I think my job here today is just kind of wrap things up, tie things together, and just kind of give you an understanding of really where you're at and why you should take some action. You know, Derek kind of talked a little bit about social media. Let me just kind of say a few things about that dovetailing into this. I think it's got a place in our industry. I'm already seeing a lot of people misusing it, though, to where they're really doing things where it's taking them out of the flow of what makes sense. In other words, if I recruit a brand new person today, I guarantee you, if you say, what would you do? I do not tell them to get on social media and start prospecting for people. I tell them to make a list of everybody they know, and I'm coming to their house in 3 days to do a meeting. And I want 10 last names sitting in that room. And if they don't perform in that level, I know from experience they're probably going to short circuit along the way. Statistically speaking, 99.9% of all top leaders in Nu Skin did it by doing it the System 7 way. In other words, the System 7 is not unique really. It's just a conglomeration of what has worked over the course of time. And so what I have come to understand with people is they want to do anything except prospect, okay? Anything except prospect, because prospect is hard, so to speak. It requires your attention, it requires getting out of your comfort zone, and so they look for a fallback so they can get out of prospecting. I just want you to understand, if you do what's uncomfortable, you will become the master of it. You will become stronger, and that's the idea behind this. So don't take, the least resistant path. Take the path that works. Take the path that requires that you step up and grow. And if you'll do that, okay, I promise you that strength will lead to where you want to be. Does that make sense? Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't have a place. It does have a place. I'm on social media. I do things. I communicate with my people that way. I think it's a great way to do that. And I think after a while, if you can kind of snag a few people from that outer rim that want to hear the business, great. But put it in its place, all right? Because the last thing I want to see you do is become a test market with it and fail. Because you don't have the opportunity to fail right now. Do you guys know where you sit right now? I mean, seriously, I don't think a lot of you guys can appreciate it. I've got a perspective that I think is unique because I've been around long enough to see this, and you kind of heard the story. I know the players behind the scenes before they were even players in this business. I knew Blake Roney when he was nobody. I knew him when he went to BYU, I mean, these are connections of people I knew before it ever happened. And so I kind of know a lot of things that a lot of people don't know. And, as I've watched this thing take place, and as it's come to fruition, you need to understand that the past brings us to the future. And this whole process, this thing you're hearing about right now has been years in the making. It isn't like it was just dreamed up yesterday. I watched this company from the very beginning. I've watched their conservative nature. Okay, I watched them take a delayed gratification. In other words, I saw distributors being paid exorbitant amounts of money, and I watched the principals of this company pay themselves menial amounts of money. In other words, they were content to sit back and not dip their hand in the cookie jar because they saw a bigger picture. Now that is unique in our industry, because you'll see principals and other companies early on start building the big houses, start driving the nice cars, start taking the money for themselves, okay? And they rob the future of the business. Does that make sense? These guys did not do that. And we went through a regulatory process years ago, okay, where we're being tested to see if we violated pyramid statutes. I'm here to tell you, if you have any success in this industry, you're going to be tested by the system that is the U.S. government. They will come in at some point and put the litmus test to you and put your feet to the fire. Most companies never survive it. And those that do never aspire to become what they should after that because they're too wounded to do it. Does that make sense? And so that refiner's fire washes everybody out. That's what made these guys who they are today. You can tell what people are by when they're tested. Everyone can put on their game face when things are good. That isn't where you make your judgment about someone's character. You judge the character when they're down, because then you really see what they're made of. And I watched these guys, and I saw what they did, and I realized at that point in time, they weren't going anywhere. They were going to stay by our side, and they're going to go through what was necessary to make sure that we not only survived that regulatory process, but we came out the other end better, and we came out the other end as the gold standard. And Nu Skin today is the company that everyone aspires to be because of the integrity and the way they go about their business. But it was earned, okay? And so they raised that integrity bar. They've, I watch companies, they just go and they go into foreign countries, just one after another. These guys are calculated. They do it right. Okay? They try to make sure that they're getting their footholds the right way, not get ahead of themselves. Okay? It's not about the speed in which they do that. It's a methodology, a way that they go about it. Okay, and that time clock might not be perfect for each individual, but at some point it'll happen. Okay, and so I watched how they did that, and they did it the right way, and they established themselves and put that foundation in place. Okay, and so all of these things that happen along the way creates an environment for which today that you and I have, because that patience that these principals had while they let us go out and do our thing. Okay, so I saw the company reinvestment. I mean, look at this beautiful building, you guys. I mean, is this unbelievable? And you've got a campus like this over in China as well. I mean, this is the infrastructure really of a $10 to $20 billion operation. It really is. And we sit at what, $3 billion right now? I mean, opportunity renewal, research and development. They put money back into their future. Did that make sense? They're engineering products and technologies right as we speak that you and I aren't even aware of. Okay, we'll become made aware of it when it makes sense for us to come to know it. Okay, the challenge with that is we got so much great stuff. Okay, the good news is we are never static. Does that make sense? We will have the ability to continue to grow and be what it is. Now, here's my deal on product. Somebody says they're passionate about a certain product, and that's what they talk about a lot. I use all the products. I can talk intelligently about any of them because I've used them all. Okay, all of them. From the face masks to anything that, any woman-type product other than the makeup, I've used it. My wife has called me a woman more than once. All right? The point I'm making is I've used it all so I can talk about it. People just want to know about benefits of experience. They don't need to know ingredients. They don't need to know all that stuff. I find that when you get too myopic on a product, you rob yourself of opportunity. Okay? Because we have all these products that hit the market. Like, if this screen represents the marketplace that we're in, and I'm excited to say about one specific product, and I've seen people as of late get just real dialed into one specific product. And so let's say that product is a niche probably about this big from the whole market, and they fixate right there. And that's where they are. They're hanging their hat. They're robbing themselves of 99% of the marketplace that's out there. What is the biggest product that we'll ever sell, you guys? Freedom. Never forget that. Never. Because if you get caught up in a product itself, you rob yourself of your vision. Do you guys understand that? Yeah. The reason that we're so keyed up about me is because of the vision it creates. The vision. We do not have another product category that can do that. There's not one out there in the industry that I see that can do that. When you can project into the future what's already happened in the past and they can see and connect the dots. You heard Hyde talk about, you need to get your meat so you can do what? Open. Okay, expose and close, right? Okay, they see that, they realize, oh my gosh, this is inkjet printers 20 years ago. I'm in, right? Where else can you get that vision? That's what we have. All right? So don't get too caught up in it. Use all the products though, because people want to ask. Once your team's involved and they're using all the products, what I'm talking about is households that consume hundreds of dollars a month of product. And if you do that, your teams will do that, and volumes will go through the roof. Okay? Seasoned field leadership. We've got the best leaders in the industry, bar none. We do. We do. And, because we're principle-based. And I would dare say a lot of the industry has been populated by our rejects. Okay? People that didn't want to stay focused on the principle part of it. But we taught them what we know. And they've gone on to try to build other companies. The point I'm making here is, we've got the foundational principles to take this to where it needs to be. No company will go where we're going. All right? Because it's our people that make the difference. Okay? So we've got the time-tested visionaries. A time again. Right now, there's nothing like it. This is the best story I've ever heard. Will there be another story down the road that would equal it? Maybe. I hope there is. But I'm not going to bank on that. I'm living here and now. We need to live in the moment, folks. And that means if you see this, you've got to put your life in order to where you can capitalize on it. Does that make sense? Okay, I talk about, if you come to TV, I talk about the business as an animal. Okay, and if you understand the animal, then you will arrange your life to cater to it. Because the animal doesn't care who you are. The animal doesn't know your name. It doesn't care about the problems you have in your life. It doesn't care that you don't totally see the vision of what it's going to do. All it knows is it's going from here to 10 billion. That's all it knows. And it could care less whether you do it or not. You guys understand? The animal, which is this business, does not have emotion. It does not have feeling. It does not care what you think or what you know. It knows what it knows. And so if you catch the vision, you better change your life to match it. And that means that something happens, boy, you better suck it up. Okay? Don't be a wimp. The animal can care less. It'll chew you up and spit you out. You understand? And so if that's the case, know the animal you're dealing with. We've got visionaries, second to none. Now, here we are in the present. As we unify things, as you've heard Nathan talking about telling one story, as that day comes, you will see Nu Skin elevate. Okay, right now, we're at a stage. You're looking at this room, and I would suspect that this room represents the people that are dialed into the movement that's happening right now. From this room, we will elevate Nu Skin to where it's going to be. That means there's people in this room that are going to change their lives dramatically. There's also going to be people in this room that have the opportunity to do so that don't. There's people outside this room, if they don't get with it, okay, are going to trail the pack if they ever catch it at all. Because the ship is leaving the harbor. There's just no doubt about it, okay? And as this growth machine moves forward, and it does what it does, I believe with the parameters of what we have right now, with the traction of the story we have, and the size of what it can become, we can go to 10 billion with this initiative all by itself. The story is that strong. And the tail is long. As we drive this into the market with me, as you realize what happens, people are going to use other products that support that product itself, and they'll use everything else, and so you get a lot of volume because of that spike into the market. Does that make sense? You've heard me say forever, and I know there's people in this room that love the youth product. I've got my own testimony of youth. This last year has been the most trying time of my life, and youth has saved me. I am passionate about youth, but why do I talk me? Because the story has more striking power from the vision perspective. And I'll move more youth talking about me than I will passionately talking about youth. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Forget the product. It's about the vision. How many of you guys came here because you want to change your life? There you go, right there. That's the market. Everyone wants to change their life. Everyone wants to go to a direction that they need to be. All right? So we've got fine-tuned systems. We have growth in billions now. Okay, think about that for a minute. We're pre-positioning for the launch of Age Like Me. This next 6 months, folks, you can't get it back. You can't get it back. Once the 6 months, it's like we've turned over the hourglass and the sand is running. You cannot stop it. They're going to launch me when? Okay, January, it's launched. Can you change that? No. It's a finite time. That means you better get with it between now and then. You better figure out how to get from point A to point B as fast as you can. You better get as many executives in your team as you possibly can by the time that launch happens. Because it's going to happen. Okay? It's like anything. I compare it to opening a country. You know, Shumi, you can relate to this as we opened Japan. There were all kinds of glitches and people were complaining about this and that. If New Skin doesn't do this, there's no way I'm doing that. You think New Skin cared what you thought back then? It opened when it opened, and the people that positioned. I remember when Thailand opened, I knew it was going to open. We started moving forward, started talking about this. Now, this is a story that I tell sometimes, and I'm telling it to you because I hope it goes into your brain. Okay? As Thailand was opening 6 to 7 months out, we started talking to people, anything Thai. And we're talking about product. We were talking about positioning for a launch of product that would dominate and become a multi-billion-dollar concern in that market. And we were looking for people who wanted to do that with us. Now, there were other people that knew it was going to open. They started talking about the product and how this is a great product. And the responses they got back was, I'd like to try that product first. Hey, we said, great, that'll happen when the product's there. And my whole analogy was, hey, if Coca-Cola was coming to Thailand and you'd never tasted it before, do you think that the success of Coca-Cola having success in Thailand is predicated off of your palate? Really? Get your mind right. Your business people first. Okay? Nobody cares what you think. Do you guys understand that? The business doesn't care. It's an animal that does what it does. So you got to get the ego out of it. So I started to tell that story. Long story short, over the course of 6 to 7 months, 600 Thais came from Thailand to here. They kicked the bricks, we did little trainings, they went back. And we armed them with the story. And it's a positioning story, like you're hearing right now with me. Now, there were other people, and there were people negative. Oh, you guys, you don't even talk about product. Oh, what are you guys doing? You know, we did this and that. And I'm like, whatever. We're looking for the 16%, guys, the early adopters and the innovators. You guys understand that? The other guys are going to come later. See, if you cater your presentation to those other guys, you will never get to where you want to be. They're going to fill the gaps. They always do. You can't change gap fillers. They're going to fill gaps the rest of their life. You guys understand? Okay, you can't change them. So you're fishing for the 16%ers. Well, that's what we did. We show up to Thailand. I'm getting a good feeling what's going on. And so we rent the largest hotel in Bangkok. It can seat 2,500 people. We do two sessions of training that day, 2,500 each, 5,000 people we trained in my team that day. By the month end, that turned into 30,000 distributors. Now, what do you think happens when 30,000 people then want product? Like magic. There were people thinking that we cheated somehow. There were people thinking that we did something illegal. All we did was what worked because we understand the animal, right? You got to understand the animal or the animal will chew you up, all right? If you want a big footprint, if you want walkaway income, then you better be doing the right stuff. And you better be engaged now, because if you sleep on this one, you're going to kick yourself. Trust me, you will. Because the animal will do what it does. It doesn't care, right? And so my point is this. That market there, and every team elite in this company was trying to get that market, and I'm not pounding my chest, I'm just telling you what we did. I was as shocked as anybody. I knew the story would work and that it would play out, we'd find the right people. But I had no idea. I walked around the hotel just kind of checking out. I opened this room, and there's a team elite that's better than I was, and they had like 20 guys in their deal. I'm like, hey. Go down the hall, and the next guy, they have 10 in there. They didn't understand. We understand. You understand now, hopefully. So the writing's on the wall. There's no doubt what's going to happen here. The question is, who gets it? Who understands the animal? Who's going to do what it is they need to do? So the goal of this company is to be what? Is to be the largest direct sales company in the world by doing what? Paying more money to who? You. That's a pretty good deal. I'm in. All right? If they want to pay us more money than anybody, I'm in. Okay, and so we've got these strategic growth implementations now. I mean, now you can kind of calculate and you can predict what it is you need to do. Back in the old days, it was like, just go recruit guys. You know, and don't quit. Clara would just chant, don't quit. Craig would chant, go recruit. And that's all we did. The less you know, the better you do. I mean that. You get too complicated. You know, I always try to stay simple. I was in the back talking to Rudy and Viviana, sitting there. I said, you know, every training, I sit in the back the whole time. I see a lot of leaders, they can't sit in their chair. They want to go in the hall. They want to go chat in the corner with a bunch of people. this has no interest to them for some reason. Not me. I sit in the chair and I listen to every single speaker. You know why? Because I'm still learning. And I want to know what the new guy knows. If I'm telling the people I bring here, come and sit in the room, and I'm out in the hall, what kind of example am I? I'm a bad one. I'm sitting in the room because I know what goes on in the room then, and they see me. People watch you when you don't think they are. You think you can fool your downline, you're wrong. They will always do what you do, never what you say. So be the example that you should be, all right? And so, business cycle, new product launches, these things are like magic, okay? And I tell you what, with the one we've got on board right now, guys, this can change your life. In 6 months, you can change your life. The question is, are you willing to do what's necessary? Find that why. Find that thing that is going to keep you locked in. Continued international expansion, that stuff's going to continue to happen. The bigger your footprint, the more you're going to participate in those markets. Okay, there's a lot of markets we haven't opened yet. I mean, when India comes, it's going to be another 1 billion people. I hope you're ready. I hope you have a footprint by then. You can use this next 6 months to do that. See, what you're setting in motion, you have no clue. You know? What you're doing right now could build a footprint to take you to, to the markets we haven't opened yet and change your life forever. You just have no idea who is attracted to whatever and where they are in their lives. All right? The AgeLock application is unique. It gives us the product category where it differentiates us. Okay, but we're talking about positioning for a launch of something that can change people's lives. All right? Now, time plus growth equals optimal return. You got to give it time. You got to act like there's no tomorrow. Because there is no tomorrow, guys. You got to work like today's all you've got. Now, we've got record multiples going on here. When I started the business, we were growing from 45 million to 500 million in the 2-year time that I really worked my tail off. That's good growth. But it's nothing like going from 3 to 10 billion with a B. You guys know what that means? I mean, it means if you're new right now and you're throwing your energy and your contacts and your focus into the pool where we're going from 3 billion to 10 billion, the multiples are so large that the time investment you put in now will give you a much more significant return than what we did. Because the multiples multiply what you've done. You understand? The highest paid people in our company will be created in the next 5 to 10 years. Those will be the people talk about. Some of us can be those if we'll stay in the game and build. Otherwise, they're going to forget our names. Say Nathan Ricks. Oh, yeah. Wasn't that the guy that used to sweat a lot in front of the room? You guys know the story there, right? They won't even know our names. They're going to know those names because those are going to be the names that control the world markets. Unless we do the same thing you do. What do we have to do? We need to be in the game. We need to be recruiting people. We need to be leading our teams into the future. You're either moving forward or you're moving backward. Period. You know? There is no such thing as just hovering. Okay? That isn't how life works. All right? The life-altering circumstance, AgeLock me, I mean, it can be a game changer for many. Most will watch, honestly. You're fine with me, I'm giving it to you how it is. I find most people come here, they see stuff, they go home, they do nothing. Why? Fear. They're afraid. I don't know what of. You know, no one's ever pulled out a gun and shot someone because they said, hey, why don't you look at this deal? It's a little crazy out there right now. You probably don't want to watch what you're doing. But what I mean, that's probably a bad joke. The point I'm making is this: what are you afraid of? You know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid of being a burden to my family. You know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid of working a job. You know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid of not having a future. I'm afraid of not being able to do what I want. I'm afraid of getting to the end of my life and realizing I have regret. That I didn't do something because I had a fear of something that did not come to pass. It didn't come to fruition, but because I was a baby about it, I was afraid to move forward. I lived a shallow life. That's what I'm afraid of. What are you afraid of? This can change your life. question is, are you willing to do what's necessary, what's required of you? Because what may be required of you may be more than what's required of somebody else. But I promise you, in the end, it all evens out. All right? There will be challenges along the way. They are. So you got to find your why. Lead by example. Achieve utopia. What that means to me is this. There's only two ways to do this. And this is where the social media thing fits in. Okay, remember this. This is as simple as it gets, guys. There's two ways you can do this. You can either go bottom up leading with product, or you can go top down selling the business. There's no other way you can do this. Whatever medium you choose to do it in is up to you. The question is, how do you want to do it? You can choose what you want. There is no dictatorial way to do this. I can just tell you, leading with the product will be slower. Leading top down will be quicker. It takes more effort and energy here because you have to have a little more bravery. You're asking people for their time. But I can tell you what, the time it takes to recruit someone with the top-down story of Age Lock Me or just selling up, introducing a product, is about the same time. But the return is 10 times more. If I talk to Eugene, I get him to look at the business, and he sees it, and he buys his 3 packages, what is he spending? Yeah, $1,000, $1,200, right? Let's say that I'm excited about youth, which I am, and I just talk to him about that, and I get him on ADR. How much comes out of his pocket? 10 times less, basically, right? If those two numbers are programmed into the compensation plan, who makes more money? The guy that got 12 out of his pocket, or the guy that got 100 out of his pocket? And now duplicate that through your team. Who kills it and who doesn't with the same investment of time? It's real simple, guys. That's the animal. However you want to spin it, and whatever you want to put into it, and however you want to say it, the animal is what it is. It's an equation. All right? And what you control is your time and the elevation of your energy. That's it. The animal will dictate everything else. Make sense? Yep. So let's don't get too emotional about it. Just go out and do it. We've got the best story going. You choose how you want to do it. If I'm working closely with you, what do you think I'm going to tell you, though? Go top down. You got nothing to lose. If they don't bite, you can always sell product. No worse for wear. You know? And then that replicates, you will find the fish you're looking for. You will. How do you get 30,000 people in Thailand in a month? I just told you. You choose. All right? Now, these are basic principles. They don't change. I can have the same conversation with you 10 years from now. What I just told you will ring true. Doesn't matter what new mechanism or new technology is invented out there to deliver information to people. I mean, it could be telepathy. It could be like I just think and it goes in your head. Right? Doesn't matter. The principle never changes. You guys understand that? What is principle? It's truths that never change. Base your business off principle and you'll get to the end game. You base it off of things that just kind of come and go, you're going to chase everything down a blind alley. Trust me. There's no easy answer. You got to just pump up, all right? Success is dependent on leadership development. The bottom line is this. The amount of leaders you develop, the kind of leader you become, those are the people that end up commanding the large checks. They do. The good news is this. All Team Elites and Blue Diamonds make their money off of 1, 2, or 3 legs. 1, 2, or 3 legs. So if you're saying I haven't found that person yet, you have to find too many of them. You find the right ones, they'll take you to the promised land. You be that person you're looking for too, with the personal growth along the way, and you will attract the same. Does that make sense? Absolutely. People say to me, sometimes my group doesn't expect me. My answer is, they'll be somebody they respect. My people don't use me. Well, be someone they want to use. They're going to pull you in their circle if they think you can help them. If they think you're going to butcher their people and slap them around and not make it work, they're not going to pull you in. So go out and do, and then they will pull you in. Lead by example, all right? I want to show you a few things here as we close, because this ties into the why. This, at the end of the day, will be the thing that sees you through to the end. Okay? Yeah, we got the store, yeah, we got these things, we got these products, we got all this great stuff, we got this great company. But at the end of the day, if you don't have this embedded in your brain to where there is some reason you're doing this, and people ask me, well, what should I do for my why? And I say, think of something that you would die for. What is it you would die for? And if you're willing to die for that, make that your why. Because when the tough times come, you will not buckle. You will move forward because your why is that strong, because you're willing to die for it. Well, to me, that would be my family. And you know, when I think about my children, this is what pops in my head. Doesn't matter how old my child ever gets. I think of my kids, I close my eyes, that's what I think about, right there. What is your why? What would you die for? Okay, now, I know right now, you think you have your life planned out. I know right now, you think you have all the time in the world to do what you want to do with what you want to do. I know, and I have watched Nathan plan his life. He's got his life planned out until he's 90 years old. The guy's a freak. Right? I mean, I've seen him, and he's like dialed in. Jeff, look at this. You know, that's great to do, but I'm telling you right now, you don't control the chessboard. You control your reaction to the moves that are made. Okay, so you're calling audibles all along the way. You have to. All right, and so prepare yourself, because life's going to come at you no matter what you do. The animal's going to be what it is. You need to arrange your life, and you have to have a why that will not shake you off the animal you're riding. You understand? You have to stay on the horse. You know, and so some of you kind of know my story. I mean, I've got 4 sons, 2 of them, Liz and I have, and, you know, one of them right there on the left, he's become something significant. One of the best baseball players in the whole country. Okay, and he's pursued by the Washington Nationals and the Tampa Bay Rays. Had a future, you know, there's no doubt. And he's a warrior. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. This is one of my favorite pictures of Eric because it epitomizes who he is. I mean, that's in the heat of battle. And it's like, you know, and his whole team jacked up, and they just knocked off the team, you know? I mean, they're doing what they do. And so, this is a pivotal person. Okay? Gosh, we've lost one of my slides. Where are we here? Okay, one of the slides didn't come through. But Eric was killed in a traffic accident a little over a year ago. Okay? Of Spanish Fort Canyon. He collided head-on with a semi-truck. And so, talk about having a curve thrown at you. I can't explain to you how it feels. I can just tell you, no one's immune to it. Okay? I know you think you have your life mapped out. I know you think you have everything figured out. You don't. The question is, are you willing to move forward no matter what? That's the question. I do believe the challenges are put in front of us not to destroy us. They're put in front of us to make us more of what we should become. I've always believed that. Even when this happened. I still believe it now. And I'm willing to walk that walk. Even though it's not that easy. Because there's times you wonder if you can move forward. But life happens, does it not?
Oh, yeah.
It does. Does that mean we curl up in a ball and die?
No.
Some do. I felt that way. But that's not who he was. That's not who I raised. If he were here, he would say, what do you even think in that thought? No. Dad, you need to be all you can be. Because that's who I was. That's who I am. This was, Eric was working with a coach that, because he had so much greatness inside him with what he had just done. You know, he had achieved so much in his 19 years. This guy was drawing more out of him. They used to make him run ladders out on the football field. And this is a military guy. you know, scar across his face. I mean, you get the picture. He's tough. And he's drilling Eric. And he's running ladders, and he's making him chant Invictus. And I don't know if you've ever done this, but this is who we are. My son was a rebel. The song when I came out was Lunatic Fringe. I don't know if you've ever heard that song. If you've ever seen the movie Vision Quest. It's a story about a rebel vision, all right? It's about a vision quest. It comes from, you know, from the Indians. And the point I'm making is this. It's a function of finding your place in the sun, who you are. And Invictus, to me, it's the core of who we are. And it says this, out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That's who my son was. That's who I am. That's who you are. We all have to walk the path, whatever that path is. I want you to understand there's a vehicle that's producing that can change your life. And I'll be honest with you. Most of you I don't know personally. It doesn't matter to me whether you persevere with new skin or not. But if you've encountered me, change your life, whether you do it here or not. Don't proceed down the path where you end up with regret. Okay? Because it's about personal power and intestinal fortitude that takes you to where you need to be. The money is a byproduct of that process. It's not in and of itself the end game. It's not about the money. The money is a reward of the process. Does that make sense? So trust in the process. If you'll trust in the process and understand it's not on your time clock, it's on God's. And that whatever comes your way, you have the fortitude to overcome it. That you can persevere through whatever. And trust me, I've been told this is the worst thing that can happen to a person. And I believe them. I would rather have me than him. In a heartbeat. But I did not have the hand dealt from my deck. It was dealt to me from another. I've talked to many of you, you've had blows in your life. You will have blows to come. The question is, what will you do? I choose strength. I choose a vision and a future that is worthy of my son. I need to be worthy to be his dad. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come to me. Okay? So, that's the face. It's a pretty face. But that's the face of my motivation. Let it be yours. You know? I mean, you have a moment in time right now, you guys, where you can change your life if that's what you want to do. Okay? Financially. And that's awesome. Change your heart, though. You know, we think with our head way too much. If you want a full life, think with your heart. And move forward with courage. Do the things you need to do. If you're afraid, so what? We're all afraid. I never knew true fear until this happened. And I thought I was pretty brave. There's always something more fearful for you. You know? But I promise, there's never going to be a challenge you can't overcome if you have the right mindset. If you understand what it's about in the end. There's a reason for everything. You're here for a reason. You decide what that is, not me. I can tell you where we're at with the animal. I know what the animal's about. I know what it's going to do. The question is, are you prepared? If you're not, boy, get yourself prepared now, because the animal won't wait. It doesn't care. It doesn't care that this happened to my family. It doesn't care. I have to decide what I'm going to do from there. Does that make sense? This is the time. I hope you guys do with it what is necessary for you, and I hope you maximize it, because I tell you what, you can change your life if you choose to do it. Thank you.